Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello, welcome to your July 2025 energy impressions. And I will also be sharing a bit about the week of June 30th, since this episode will be in your feed on the Monday before the 1st. So we'll check into a bit of the specific energy for the first week. But the main info, the main part of this episode will be about the energy impressions for July. And I do want to just take a moment for you to feel into what June gave you. What do you feel like you have come out of the month? Whether you're listening on the last day or a few days into the week. What did you get? What did you receive? For me, I feel like through the deep grief that I've been moving through since my father passed at the beginning of March, and also a lot of beautiful new things opening up in my business and in my work. But also, it gave me more insight into how comfortable I have become in the unknown. And that is saying a lot for me personally. That is very different than how I was able to look at uncertainty and the unknown just a few years ago. So I will say that is, I feel like, for now, the biggest lesson that I received was to know how much trust I have in not only myself, but in my life. I will be turning 43 this August, and I do feel like with time, with the gift of having that amount of time on this earth, is now I really do have, and maybe you'll relate to this as well, so much evidence, so much experience to look back on and see, oh, I thought that was going to be the end. Or how can I live through all of this uncertainty? And in each time, because I'm here now, in the present, now, each time everything worked out. Everything was okay. And I share that to help you remember your resilience and all of the times where maybe it felt like, how on earth are you going to manage this or navigate it? Or how is it going to work out? Fill in the blank. But if you look back on your life, I bet you do have at least a few ways that you can look at and see that you did do all right, that maybe something even better happened. So perhaps June also gave you that gift to know that even though you are unsure about exactly what is going to happen, what you're going to do, how things will unfold, you're going to be okay. And maybe that was a lot of nervous system work. Maybe that was a new way that you found in grounding yourself. I feel like there is so much we can reflect on for how busy and eventful and interesting June was. But now we are moving into a new month, into the 7th month of the year. We're moving into the back half of 2025, which I'm not even going to say I hope is easier or less eventful than the first half for me personally, because who knows? But I do know that from what I receive for July, I am looking forward to it. And before we dive in, I wanted to touch on my Art of Intuitive Spoon Bending workshop for anyone who would love to join me in July. The next workshop will be on Saturday, July 19th from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific. And this is on Zoom, so you can join from anywhere in the world. And you will receive the replay as well if you cannot join it live. And if you have been focusing or thinking about certain manifestations in your life, calling in your desires, really building something that may seem impossible today, if there is anything in your life that you have been thinking about, dreaming about, but then you get caught on, but how is that going to happen? That's what this practice will help you understand, because it is a mirror for your mindset. It helps you release your attachment or your grip on on how everything will work out. So you can focus on nurturing yourself, trusting yourself to keep acting on your inspirations, and trusting your energy. It is quite a magical workshop, if I do say so myself. I really feel that way. I am lit up beyond belief afterwards because it is just so cool to witness that magic that is already here, waiting for us to remember, truly. So I hope you can join us. So again, the next one will be in July, on July 19th, the Saturday. And go to the show notes. You'll see where to click to buy your ticket. And if you have any questions about it, just send me a message. All those links are in the show notes as well. All right. So, yes, let's dive into the energy impressions for July 2025. Now, with these energy impressions, a quick reminder or an invitation to anyone new listening that with these energy impressions, I use my intuitive abilities to go into a nice deep meditation with the intention to receive any insight, any guidance, anything that we may need to know or need to remember for the month of July that will allow us to navigate through the month with more ease, but also will allow us to maybe be more aware of opportunities and how to be prepared to overcome some challenges that may arise as well. So I will share what I experienced during the meditation to help us through July. And I will also touch on the energy update for the first week of July as well. And then I will end the energy impressions with key journal prompts for July and the week. So I'll put them together. And these are journal prompts that can help you integrate some of this information, help you open up to insights that you need to know about yourself that will help you for the month. And also with everything I share, take what resonates, take what you need, and leave the rest. Use this as a way to develop your intuition, to develop your discernment, to really trust that if something rings true for you, if something piques your interest, pulls at your intuition, then that is for you. And if something does not, then it's not for you. Trust yourself. Trust what resonates. Okay. So for the month of July 2025, the first thing that came through in my meditation was this beautiful big scene on the beach. And it felt like the golden hour in between day and night. And so the person that I see in my visual who is representing all of us, we're building a fire on the beach. We have so many pieces of wood stick by stick, large, small, and we are building this fire. We are layering them like a Jenga. We are building and building. There's a little bit of fire burning, and then as we put more wood, the fire grows and we're blowing on it. But then the wind comes and it is too strong and it is almost putting out the fire and knocking down some of the wood. But then we pick up the wood, put it back, start building it again. I noticed we do not get hurt by the fire. We are just focused, determined, problem solving, ready to put it back together, not quitting. So we're building it, building up the fire, the wind is blowing, we're putting it back together, and this was kind of a long scene. And I couldn't help but remember, as I was writing the notes afterwards, that in June, the beaver came through for one of the weeks, and the beaver cuts down all of the wood, makes the dam. But the energy around the beaver, what it represents is the building and the builder of our dreams. So this image really shows me that we have kind of brought all of the pieces together to build our dreams. Like we are ready. Everything that we have prepared and cultivated over the last month, the last year, the last years, we are building it. And we are building it into something that is growing. We are building it to sustain light and fire. Something is ignited, and we are taking care of it and building it. But there was a feeling, like a sense of determination for sure, but also some frustration that we had to keep putting it back together, that we had to keep bringing it back. And it did feel like this month, pay attention to when you do feel frustrated. Even if you're feeling determined and committed to something, to allow the frustration, that it's okay to be frustrated if things don't go the way that you want them to go, if you have to kind of put things back together more than you thought. It really felt strongly as I was feeling into the frustration, but also the determination. I could feel that our sacral, our second energy center, and our heart, our fourth, that our sacral and our heart, those are the energy centers that we need to connect with this month, that will help us, that we can rely on and pay attention to, and maybe need more attention than we've been offering. So it does feel like a message that we are building something. We are building it piece by piece, that it is igniting something, that it will grow. The expansion is happening, but we may get frustrated, but we need to remember the determination. We need to connect to our heart and our sacral to help us continue to build this fire, to build this dream. And then the scene opened up on the beach. And in front of the water were people sitting in front of us, watching us make this fire, watching us build back the wood on top after it had been knocked over, watching us blow on it and trying our best to keep it going. And the feeling immediately when these people showed up in the vision, in the scene that was already happening, that those people were there the whole time, it felt like they are waiting to be asked to help, that they want to support, they want to help. They want to make sure that it wasn't just us building back this fire over and over again. And this felt so connected to our sacral as well. That we need to remember this month that there are people that may be waiting to support us, but we need to ask. This also felt metaphysical, that we have support in the unseen that we may have forgotten about. and that we can offer direction. We can ask for help. When is the last time that you asked for help from your team of light, from your guides, from your angels, however you connect? But this was a big part of kind of the reveal of, oh, we don't have to do everything on our own. There is actually support that we may have forgotten is there for us. So are you forgetting about the support that you have? Are you trying to do everything on your own? Trying your best to problem solve and redirect, but forgetting to ask for help too? Because the way the fire was constantly needing attention so that it doesn't go out, it did feel like a message to, yes, rely on our skills, rely on our resilience, our determination, what we know, what we have prepared for, what we can do. But are you doing it the hard way out of habit? Is there a way that it could be a bit easier? So really connect to, what have you been building? What are you ready to really make? What are you making that is growing, that is expanding in your life? And how can the unseen, how can you open up to it and allow yourself to be supported, even if it feels uncomfortable? But this felt like our heart this month may need some deep care in moments, that we may be extra sensitive in certain parts of the month because our hearts are feeling very tender. But it felt like the deep care that our hearts need for July, it will help us see what part of our heart is translating that hurt incorrectly. And what does that mean? Well, I saw kind of a shadow within the heart when we may have had our feelings hurt. And so this did feel like a message for this month to pay attention to, if you do get your heart hurt, your feelings hurt, to pause for a moment and catch what part of your heart believed that that was okay. What part of your heart knew that that was going to happen because fill in the blank. The part of you that feels unworthy or that it deserved to be hurt. That needs our attention. So if that resonates, remember to pay attention and not just shake off or ignore when your heart is hurt this month. And do I wish that none of us had our hearts hurt this month? Yes, of course. I hope that for all of us. But in the meditation, it did show that our hearts are more sensitive, need more attention, need more care. So we may get our feelings hurt. Hopefully it is not a really deep hurt. Hopefully it is just a bit of a spotlight into this part of yourself that you need to bring more love to. So what part of your heart do you need to bring more love to this month? Maybe you don't even have to wait until your heart is tender and needs the attention because it did hurt. Maybe you can do it now. Pay attention now. If it resonates, that may be the best thing to do as we move into July. And then the next thing that came through was a lot of playing. The scene changed and it was a playground. It was jumping and skipping and playing. And this was a very strong message to play, to give our nervous systems a break. And I love that it came right after the heart attention, because this felt like a message for some of us that have maybe been focused too much on the healing, too much on our energy centers on uncovering past hurts, on letting go, on reclaiming, on all of the things. Maybe it's time to take a break. So if that resonates with you, if you feel like you've been focused on the healing for so long, July can be a time where you get to take a break, where you get to get out of your head and focus on how you can have fun, how you can feel that lightness, that childlike play. And it feels like we all need that, but for some of us, we may need it more than others. So how can you carve time into your month to do that? It really feels like this month, this July, we may be continuing to really feel all of those facets of ourselves, shedding and releasing the parts of us that maybe are almost refusing the next steps that we want to take. But that can also create some fatigue, right? Some ungrounded energy in our system. And that's where playing, connecting to that childlike energy can take care of us. But also, it's reminding me that children, from what I hear, children love consistency and structure. So maybe part of that care for your system is offering yourself more structure. Where do you need more structure? Where do you need to be more consistent with taking care of your energy? And that's not only with like the self-care, self-soothing practices, but also with the care that you may not feel like doing. The things that we have to commit to, because if we rely on our motivation, we won't be consistent with it. Things like moving our bodies, exercising, meditation, checking in on our energetic boundaries. When you get home after a big day, do you do anything to help to support your energy? I have that simple practice, and that I do hear about from time to time since I shared about it, which is you get some salt, whatever salt, use your intuition. It doesn't need to be some fancy, expensive salt, just salt. And you bring it to the sink and you run the tap with warm water, and then you put the salt in your hand and you scrub the salt on your palms as if you're washing your hands with the salt under the warm water as the warm water dissolves the salt. And you can say with intention, you can say out loud or to yourself, I give back to them what is theirs and I take back what is mine. I give back to them what is theirs and I take back what is mine. I give back to them what is theirs and I take back what is mine. Do you do something to take care of your energy? Because I know from personal experience that I do not always feel like doing that. But I know how good it makes me feel after. So I do it. Just like with my work. When I am finished a client session, when I'm finished a group healing, when I'm finished a group meditation, a workshop, I have a personal thing that I say, that I repeat, and then I have a practice that I do with my energy, and then that creates the boundary, and that ends the energetic connection and helps me fully reclaim my energy. And that's why I don't get super depleted after my work. I'm consistent with the reclamation of my energy. But do I feel like that every time? No. I have to remind myself that I need to do this because this helps me in so many ways. But most of the time, I would much rather just get up and go into my apartment and start doing something else. It's like stretching after working out. Many times after my workout, I will be like, I just want to jump in the shower. But I need to do my 5-minute cool down stretching so that I can continue to work out. It's care, but it's not something that I always love to do because it takes more time. So something to check in with yourself. And that helps with this month because it does feel like with opening up to support with what we're building, that we could have a lot of opportunities this month to say yes. Yes to the support. Yes to the help. Yes to invitations. Yes to new experiences. And these might mirror directly how much you have shifted into your personal, authentic power as you had been releasing all of those parts of yourself, as you've really been moving into you and your truth of who you are. And that reminds me of why we may need to really focus on our sacral that I spoke about at the beginning. Because as a reminder, with that second energy center, this is where, when we're feeling supported and in harmony with the rest of our energy, we don't feel as much shame. We feel safe in our emotions and expressing them. We feel secure in sharing ourselves, but our creative selves, our creative spirit. We feel supported and are able to easily say yes to receive support and help from others, but also receiving compliments and generosity. We feel secure. And we feel secure in being generous in giving to others without expectation. This energy center, the sacral, just a little bit below our belly button, our pelvic bowl, our womb space. This is where we hold the energy to have our healthy boundaries without worry or anxiety or fear. And we can really connect to clear intentions that we have for our actions and experience the joy and pleasures of being a soul in a body. We can relax and experience, be supported, give without expectation. This feels like a big part of the month. Receive without saying, no, 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 no. So if anything I shared about the sacral resonates with you, then you may need more care. And you know that I have my Reiki healing meditations on Insight Timer, and I do have it on this podcast feed too for the sacral. So if you feel called, those may really support you as well. But there are also a few more things in the meditation that I want to share. So the next thing I saw was a big clock with the hands. And the hands on the clock were spinning. Spinning, not out of control, but spinning real fast. And right away, this felt like a message for the month to let go of our timetable, to trust the timing, to let go of controlling how we want things to happen, on what timeline, to release that grip, to not worry about too slow or too fast. That's not the focus. To really trust the timing. And because the hands on the clock were speeding up, it also felt like the time to trust is also in our hands. To focus on the present. To focus on what to do next. And I have been feeling this for a while, and it reminds me of how things can change on a dime. So focusing on your present, trusting the timing, not getting too caught up on the timetable, not getting too caught up about the future. Even though, yes, some of us may be building something for the future, we need to focus on the present. And that whatever is unknown, but all we need to know is right now. And that may be why we need to really open up to support, why we need to take care of our energy and our boundaries, why we need to focus on our hearts and our sacral, why tuning into that childlike energy, giving ourselves a break on doing all of the things we should be doing, focusing too much on healing, self-development. If that's you, this is the month to integrate, to let it go, to not do anything more, and focus on what you're building, what you desire, who you can help in July. Yeah, who you can help. That was a big part, right? So in July, if you catch yourself spinning out about the future, about the timetable, about what you're not doing, what you should be doing, catch yourself, if you can, and ask yourself, what can I do for someone else today with no obvious benefit to me? When is the last time you asked yourself that? And the animal that came through for July, I love the animals that come through in the meditation because they can inspire us even more with the energy of what it represents, the symbolism of the animal, and what it reminds you of, what it connects to for you. And the animal that came through for July was the tiger. The tiger is such a gorgeous, powerful energy. As you can imagine, the tiger represents inner power, courage, devotion, commitment, new adventures, sacral healing, passion, inspired action, boundaries, soul calling and purpose, and even inner child healing. And I love that the tiger came through because the animal came through at the end of my meditation. But look at how much that connects to everything that we have already spoken about. So the tiger can be a really great animal for you to connect with this month, to maybe get into stillness and bring the visual of a tiger into your mind's eye and just see what unfolds. How does it make you feel? What does it remind you of? Look at a picture of a tiger and do the same thing. How does it make you feel? What does it bring you to? And I wanted to share an excerpt from Animal Speak by Ted Andrews for even more insight. All tigers are known for their ferocity and their power. They are also excellent swimmers, unlike other large cats. This gives them ties to all the energies and mystical qualities so often associated with the element of water. Tigers are nocturnal hunters. Individuals connected to the tiger will find their most effective work accomplished at night. The traditional black and gold orange patterning links the tiger to the mysticism surrounding the new and full moons. There has always been a great deal of mysticism and mythology centered on the tiger. A study of these associations will help you to identify its role within your own life and possibly even past life links to other parts of the world. If a tiger has showed up, you can expect new adventures. It will awaken new passion and power within life. Examine what is going on in your life. Do you need more passion for life? Are you expressing your life passion inappropriately? Has your energy been down? If tiger has shown up, there will begin to manifest new adventures and a renewed devotion and passion for life. And I thought that was such a beautiful passage from Animals Speak about the tiger for the month of July. And then because it's the first week of July, the week of June 30th, I did want to meditate on any intuitive insights for just the week. Anything else we need to focus on aside from the overall energy that we connected to for July. And right away, it was boundaries, sacred boundaries, which we talked about at length. So focusing on those for the first week may be a great way to start out the month. It also felt like a heart focus for the week. That tenderness of our hearts, it needs our care, maybe more for the first week of July, for this week of June 30th. And it felt like the clear picture, keeping our vision alive, that this is the week to pay attention. Pay attention to when, perhaps, with that vision that we have for what we're building, is it really still aligned? I saw it as, for this week, we could see more truth around if we are trying to be something or someone that we are not. That we can really discern for the week of June 30th when we're doing that. That we can connect to the superficial. And as we do that, it feels like this week we may connect to what is truly valuable. What is truly valuable for us in our lives and what we have been placing too much value on. It felt like this week, keep in mind that all that glitters is not always gold. And that also connects to comparison. Are you comparing yourself to anyone this week? Are you comparing what you're doing, what you're creating, anything about your life or the life of your family or friends or loved ones? Comparing our lives to someone else's, comparing what we do to someone else doing something, that is extremely superficial because we don't know them. We don't know what it's like for them. So how can you pay more attention to your authentic energy and who you are? And making sure that you know what is truly valuable. This is the week for it. And there was no other animal. It was the tiger. So the tiger is the animal for July, but also for this week. So for the week of June 30th, the tiger maybe can bring you into the month ahead. Maybe that's the first focus, is how can you connect to that energy and how does it inspire you? And then let me share some of those intuitive questions that you can use as journal prompts or answer to yourself in a voice note. Or if you have a friend that likes to do this kind of thing, you can maybe answer them to each other in a voice note or in a conversation. There are so many different ways you can do it. You can answer one or all or none. Trust what resonates. So the first question could be, write about what wins to celebrate and what losses to let go from the past 6 months. And that may be the one. You might have heard that and gone, okay, that's all I need to know. That's what I need for July. I'm going to write that one. But the next one, if you want to do another one, when in your past did you insist on doing something yourself? And in hindsight, you really should have just asked for help. And how does this insight help you now? And then a third question, where in your life are you feeling called to share? To share your voice, your truth, who you are, what you value, and what is in the way? Is there anything in the way of your ability to express yourself this way? And then a fourth question, but more of an exercise. Write a letter from your child self to you today. So you are going to be writing to yourself as your child self, as your inner child. Pick an age, just trust whatever age comes, and then write to your adult self. As your child self, what do you need to tell yourself? What do you need to know? What does your child self need you to remember? This is a beautiful exercise if you have never done it. Give it a chance. You may be surprised at what comes out when you connect to your child self this way. Okay, so yes, a lot of information. I hope that some of it resonated for you and is going to help you through the month and through the first week of July. But of course, I will be back next week to give more focus on the week ahead. So, more of an energy update for the week as I've been doing. And yes, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. I, as always, would love to hear if you resonated with the energy I'm feeling and that we're moving through for July and the week of June 30th. And if you have any thoughts or questions, please do not hesitate to send me a message. All of the links are in the show notes for you to connect with me. And hugely appreciated if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you feel like giving a bit more support, I will say yes to that. And you could share the episode with a friend, or you could leave a review. Also, incredibly helpful. So, thank you again, so much again. Be kind to yourself, and I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful. Cat.